Hello, my Leader Kenya members. So welcome to the second session of this meeting. So in this session, we're just going to take you through the platform in terms of how you can interact with the website, how you can contribute your stories and share your story as well. And then where you're able to place in resources or information you have about your county or your constituency or your wards. So what you do is come to the website, which is myleader.co.ke. Whenever you have a problem, you can always chat with the chat assistant here. And then here, there is a login and register. So within the registration, you just put in your username and password. If you don't have an account yet, you can register here. So with your username and password, simply click on sign in. So once you sign in, every member who is registered has a dashboard where they're able to see all the stories that they have contributed. They can also see all the pending stories that is not yet approved to go live by the admin. So that means every story that you contribute comes into the pending step, and once it's approved, you'll be able to see it and track it here. So if you want to write an article, you just simply come here and then you click on add article. So within that place, you have a place where you can then now promote or write an article in area of the categories that is there. Every article that you write will go into both the website and will also go into the mobile app. So if you want to write an article, you simply put in the title of the article, you'll put in the category of the article, you put in the description of the article, and then you have in the description here, which is the content area, you type all that there, the paragraphs, in which category. So there are a number of categories here that you can choose from. So for example, I'm writing this for Nyali constituency, then you come here and choose a content type. So if it's just a video you're adding only, you can add video and text. It means you're going to simply choose the player that you want to play, if it's YouTube, for example, and then you're able to add that URL or the ID of that particular video. We'll be able to cover that in another session, but you can also add your businesses or your organizations or your um, uh, organizations here. But for the sake of this particular training, I just wanted to show us how to see your profile. So within your profile, just update your name here, update your image here, and then after that, you come in at this place here, you'll be able to see your membership type. So like I'm MLK, member for life. So, and I've also contributed, made a payment of 10,000. So now we have a member who saw this interface and he was very much impressed. And he was like, we can extend this part so that after a member has made a membership fee, then they are now able to come in and be contributing some small amounts, which is what we are calling the table banking. So in that, each member becomes a member of a table and then they contribute, then we're able to now help them with this. So I'm joined here by Mr. Stanley. Can you hear me, Stanley?
Yeah, I can hear you, Alphonse.
Yeah, so you had an idea of extending this so that it's not just members registering, but it can be some sort of economic empowerment. Just tell us a bit about what you had in mind here for the members to hear.
Okay, absolutely. So first of all, thank you very much for this opportunity. I think we have gone back and forth with this idea, sometime sharing. I think the time has come for it to be at least be investigated and see how we can do it as a group. Now, a bit about economic empowerment. I believe MLK can have a very good foundation if at all we have a strong economic base. Now, for me, I'm taking this approach, having gone through one of the leading economics, especially Black American economist called Dr. Claude Anderson, who explains how the economics behind power and how we can set up our communities for success. Now, my motivation for this is that if you look at MLK and the different groups in WhatsApp that are already there, they're just dormant apart from sharing just political stories here and there. So I believe that if we had a very good financial or let's say economic power, then we'll be able to action so many of the ideas that I believe most young people have. So if I am to go back to Dr. Cloud Anderson and explain, he explains it in terms of in the economic world, there are four ladders that are any group meaning any community can take for them to be able to persecute their own agenda. So the first ladder, which is the most important part, is the economic base, of which if you are to evaluate looking our own communities, even before the coming of the Europeans, you realize that each and every community had its own economic activity. Then we can all agree that for any community or for group of people to be progressive, then they have to have some sort of economic activity for the purpose of sustenance. Now, after having a good economic base, then the economic power allows them to go to the politicians, or basically buy the politicians so that they can help them persecute their agenda, or basically buying their seat in the table where important decisions are made. So once they have that, then they can move to the last ladder, which is the media. Now they can make the media, or they can buy a slot in the media that allows them now to broadcast whatever information that they had. So if looking at the way MLK has been structured, I believe that if we set ourselves economically, we can be able to take advantage of that perspective, and that can allow us not only to be people who talk about things, but also be action. If today you look at most youth groups being also participant in so many youths, you realize the model has always been youth gather around a certain topic, they get sponsors, and then after some time, when maybe whatever they're persecuting is maybe worn out, or maybe due to maybe the sponsor leaving, the youth group usually disintegrate. Now, coming from Coast and also being lived in Nairobi and also Eldoret for some time, that is the story of most young people. Some of you might agree with me and maybe some might, but I believe these are things that we can all sit down and see what is your story, how did maybe your youth group came together and how did it disintegrate. My thinking is that if we can now, as young people, sit down together and pull our resources together in a way that now if we try to pursue something, we can. So if you're having a sponsor or anybody to come and support our initiative, then it will be them supporting. So if they leave, we still have a very strong foundation that can allow us to progress, and not a situation whereby if a sponsor leaves, then or a donor leaves, then we are totally handicapped and we cannot move forward. That was one. Secondly, we can look at the loaning apps that have emerged in the recent era. For me, they're using a system that I think the term that is being used is predatory loaning systems, whereby as much as, for example, you have been buying some few credit here and there, then you have a very good credit worthiness, and therefore you're eligible to buy a certain to be loaned a certain amount of money. In the long time, like right now, if you've been following a lot, most young people between the age of 18 to around small amounts, like somebody's being owed 500, making money for this application, contributing to our societies. So my thinking was, okay, why not be a proactive young man or a proactive brother that we can aid each other. An example that I had used before, Alphonse, was that if supposedly I'm in a situation where I need help, I'll just call you, Alphonse, can you lend me at least 5,000? Now, depending on a relationship, you can easily give me do the same thing in a way that allows people to access the same thing. Yeah, I believe it becomes more beneficial, therefore avoiding or protecting our communities or our young people from these predatory loan systems, and therefore we handle our issues in-house. And therefore I had proposed an issues to do with table banking. And the issue of table banking, though there are so many modalities that we can adopt, I think the one that at least we saw it viable is having a table, like having 12 people and divided into, depending on how much can you contribute, maybe 1,000, 5,000, and split according to the level that you can. as I believe you had demonstrated earlier on the app where there is Mtani, there is VIP and all that, then I believe if we pull that money together, the different tables that we might have, and then aggregate everything, I believe we're going to have a very, um, uh, 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 um, a very, I don't know, big is the right adjective to use there, but a very good base that can allow us to have a very huge negotiating power when you're going to negotiate either financially or if you want to um, persecute a certain agenda and we need some financial help anyway. I think we'll be in a good position if we can aggregate all these tables together, and therefore we can borrow if it's about borrowing money to do investments here and there. Because at the end of the day, it's about building a strong economic base that allows us to become proactive participants in building our own societies or communities. Back to you, Alphonse. I don't know if there is something I've missed. I guess we can interact and see where maybe I can expound more.
You're just talking about the opportunities that can be available. I think there's a Kiswahili saying
Pardon?
that, you can hear me?
Yeah.
You're just talking about the opportunities that we can create. And there's a Kiswahili saying that mkono mtupu haulambwi. And I was just thinking of if an investor, for example, wants to come on board, and this investor would like to work with some people, they would be glad if these people at least have some money. I mean, that can open up to a lot of businesses that we can do if we have something that we have been saving as youth.
Yes.
I don't know how you look at it in terms of what investors can be looking for, or some activities and programs we can be doing when we have money against when we're just asking, but we have nothing that we've already saved.
Absolutely. I think, yes, I think the saving part is very important. And you remember saying that maybe for a start, we can save with the app. And then after some duration time, then we can now allow where we can do credit and stuff. But again, if we, like I had said earlier, if we save a certain amount of money and then we later on aggregate. Now, if you're going to get investors, maybe there is a project that we want to do. It can be maybe a certain table wants to do a big project and we think the project maybe can be beneficial, maybe to the group or to the whole MLK as a foundation, then we stand a high chances to have a very a good opportunity of getting an investor, or if you're not an investor, then if you're going to have a conversation with these big financial institutions, then I think we'll be better placed, because at least now we have something like you can say, okay, this is what we have. What we're looking at somebody to come in and assist with this, and therefore we can be able to persecute whatever we're persecuting.
And during coronavirus, there are so many of our youth that ended up, their businesses like went down, and most of them did not save, and that's really rampant among the youth. I don't know how you look at it against how we are able to empower such kind of people, so that it's not just about the money, but it's also about giving them the necessary skills and mentorship as well.
Well, absolutely. So I believe MLK does not only bring youth together, we also bring manpower of different abilities. So when we talk about the different sections of MLK that does mentoring and everything, we have a good opportunity to proactively participate in each other's life. Like what we have happened, maybe you've been working and you've been consistently saving and participating in MLK events. So if there is a chance that you drop off, then because you are very proactive, then there is a high chance of saying, okay, what's wrong with this person? How can we be able to aid him? And therefore we not only wait until such a pandemic or any other thing, a natural disaster comes in, it's when we really need to help, but we can proactively organize ourselves together and quickly respond, rather than just waiting and then each and every time we are caught as if it is an emergency. Well, these are things that happen, and being proactive allows us to respond accordingly. So I believe if we are to take an economic approach, it means we are always ready to react in case there is a problem, either one of us or as an institution we face, because we have the tools, both in manpower and the financial capital, to be able to navigate the situation.
And most of the time, we've had so many youth groups just engage in activities or events.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I don't know how you look at this in terms of uh, us not just engaging in events. I know previously MLK was just about events, organizing events. How this can be a game changer in that line.
I think it will be a game changer because most people participate in events mainly looking out for something. Like you being in business, you understand most of these events are created as a hub to allow different people to interact and therefore opportunities arise, right?
Yeah.
But now if you look at MLK, if we do just events, then we'll keep on asking then what next? Because yes, we are known, yes, we have done a lot of PR with these events, but at the end of the day, what is it felt on the ground? And since most young people, we are still at our experimental stage, we want to test ourselves, but we don't have anything, any cause that can really tap into these people. And therefore, at first, they come very motivated. They are very happy to share their ideas, but after staying for some time, they realize there is really nothing going on apart from the different meetings and the selfies that we are taking, which are very nice, but they're not backed up with anything that's very tangible. So I believe if we start something like, for example, table banking or an economic empowerment programs, most people will have more faith and more energy coming into MLK, knowing very well that I can come to MLK, start up something or participate in something that not only is going to feed me, but it can feed or empower other people, so that we are more about something building rather than just saying and then there is zero action. So I believe that aspect will not only attract people, but will also retain people and make them and really give them the platform that they can really explore. So that we don't just become like a news media that we cover information, but at the end of the day, if you look on the ground, most of these news media, they don't do anything on the ground. That is the work of different organizations. But in us, if we empower ourselves economically, we will be in a position to say, okay, our people are suffering here. Now we have a program that deals, for example, maybe it is a hub, an innovation hub that deals specific with this kind of people. Take this person there so that they can explore what they want to do. And maybe in the long run, it can be so much beneficial to the organization rather than just an event done, we go home. Next time we come and evaluate the same events and go. So we are more of like politicians, really, and therefore we are not like different than any other organization. Soon everybody is going to disperse. So to avoid that, I believe having a cause that is actionable on the ground allows us to be able to be responsive to the needs or the demands of our members and hence the society.
And you also talked about the composition. I'm just imagining how a composition of 12, a group that can be managed. So for example,
Yes.
myself, I'm an IT, and I know you are also in IT and you are a programmer. If
Yes.
you just give it in line of your interest, for example, and you're in a group with other members of MLK in IT, and you're 12 of you, so the
Yes.
partnership, the things that you're able to do together as a group, I believe that alone
Yes.
can be even bigger than the 100 shillings or the 200 shillings that we are contributing in a month.
100%. Actually, I'll use an example of BNI. I don't know if you have had an experience with BNI.
Yes, but I'm not yet a member.
Oh, okay. But you know the concept.
Yes.
So BNI is basically business, I think, an international network, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Business Network International. So whereby there are certain pools of people, with each and every person is of different professional. So if you have somebody doing law, somebody doing maybe investment banking, and people from different careers then pull together and then they share opportunities within. So if I am in problem and I need law services, I don't need to go outside, I go within. Huh?
Yeah.
So now we understand we are people of different abilities, right?
Yeah.
And therefore, if we, MLK being youthful for the young people, and most of them are either from college or they're really starting their career, or some are just establishing themselves, then we have a very interesting dynamic. So my imagination, I'm just wowed by the things that we could do if we really had a very strong economic base, because it will be okay, fine. In our table banking, we have a programmer, we have a lawyer, we have an economist, we have an accountant. So in that case, then we can sit down. If you are coming, if you're coming up with an idea that we need to invest in, then it has a multidisciplinary approach that can make it more holistic, and therefore the chances of failure becomes less. You know,
Yeah.
and therefore the chances of succeeding becomes very high. And at the long run, the people who are going to benefit is the MLK family as a whole.
I think for myself, there are groups I've seen where they have been able
Yes,
to, for example, build a whole plaza, and they were just some border people and they were contributing some 20 shillings, and then they have been able to do it. Maybe just in line of what a group can do. Like if we are 12 groups and then we have so many of those 12 groups, and I can always log into
yes,
my interface and see what within our table, what we've contributed, the 12 of us. And then I can also
yes,
see within the dashboard how other
yes,
tables have contributed, and then the entire of the MLK group, how they have also made their contributions. I don't know how you
yes.
can bring in the power of a group on that line.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with the group, it brings a lot of things in terms of bringing, pulling money together and being able to really do things. So personally, like right now, I'm also working with, as I had shared earlier, and I'm working with an organization of women that they want to do something almost similar. So we are looking at how we can bring money together na kuonea sahi tumekuwa na problem kama example hakuna
Hello.